Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and welcome to a special edition of Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I'm here today to talk to you about the Queen of Swords, the Dragon. So, this is a really good episode. I really enjoy it. It's one of my all-time favorites. This episode depicts that of a Japanese master and his pupil coming to what they call the New World, which is, like America, and when America, took over Mexico, and technically, America took over California, so they're like in the crosshairs of each other, and the world is like reforming itself around like North America and stuff. And so this is like, back in, I think, 1700s, or not so much 1800, probably 1700s. And so I've talked about the Queen of Swords before, like she's this like, Mexican, like female Zorro. And she's there to avenge her father's death and find out who murdered him and stuff like that. And she fights like, corruption from this one dude from Spain who rules over like, that area of California and stuff. And so like the Japanese couple that comes in, they well the master, let me see how I say his name. Kayo Mosha. I'm not really sure how to say him, but she just calls him the master. He wanted to go to North America because he said, we must learn from like, the people from overseas, of the New World before they come and consume us and everything. Because, this is when they were putting like Europe was putting like people like all over like other countries and trying to take over their territories and stuff like that. And so he said, we must learn from like these people and stuff. And because they tried their best to like take over. Now both these stars aren't even Japanese, which is like really messed up. I really hate when they don't cast race appropriation, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that hard to find a Japanese like actor and actress and stuff. Now don't get me wrong, I like these two stars. I've seen them in other stuff, and they did a really good job in this episode. But if you're gonna have a Japanese like, character, cast a Japanese star. Like, and that's the problem with the entertainment business. It's like, they need an Asian character. So they just find any Asian character and just say, that person's that race when they're not. You know what I'm saying? Could take somebody like me. When I was in college, I was talking to this one dude who's Asian. I forget what race he is. But like, we were talking to this other girl we had saw on campus, and she was also Asian. And I think I asked her like, what country you're from, because the school I went to, most well, actually a good number of like the Asian students like were from like other countries. They were very rare that they would come from like America and stuff. And most of them came from like Japan or like the Philippines, stuff like that. And so he said, "Oh, I don't even have to ask that question because Asian people, we can just tell what country a person's from." I'm all like, "Man, I wish I could do that, but I can't." So it's kind of like, this is why I wish they would like cast appropriate, because it's kind of like, people always assume like, Asian people are all the same color, same race, but they're not. Some have different skin tones and colorations and, and shapes, the structure of the face and the hair. And it's just like, it's just like for somebody like me who can't tell like one Asian race from like another, television could really help me learn, what I'm saying, and other people and stuff. But yeah, I still like these two stars. I just wish they were Japanese and stuff. And so the actor, oh man, this hurts so much. I did not know this man passed away. Like, cause I saw him in a movie called Kiss of the Dragon, which I'm gonna talk about later this month with Jet Li in it. And it's my favorite action movie. And so like I had no earthly idea that Bert Qua was like dead. He died in 2016. I also didn't know he was British and stuff. But yeah, man, I had no idea he died. May he rest in peace. Now, the actress, I saw her in Birds of Prey. She played Katana. Now, I don't know which exactly is the right way to say her name because online they have it stated two different ways. One is Lee Sung Hai, and the other one is Sung Hai Lee. So I don't know which one's her first name, and I don't know which one's her last name. I'm gonna assume because Sung and Lee, those can be two different last names. I really don't know. And stuff. And so she just doesn't want to be there. She's all like, this land is barren and all this other stuff, because it's California. It's hot. They're out there on the beach. It's nothing but sand. There's barely any lush foliage and stuff. And so he gives her some words of wisdom. And, and then all of a sudden he can hear horses rumbling, because there are some bandits and they see them. They think it could be some quick cash and everything. So they rob them. Well, they're not going to go down without a fight and everything. He's nice enough to be all like, you can share what food we have, but you think you're going to rob us, then you got another thing coming. So both of them just whoop on all these men. They whoop their behinds. But, the female, whose name is Cammy, she got a little too overzealous and she took out, I believe it was a knife or maybe it was a sword. I can't remember. And she cut this one man's stomach wide open. And this pisses off this other man to where he takes out his pistol and he shoots the master. And the master dies. And then they knock out Cammy. It turns out that the man that she killed was this man's son. And so, because of that, they're taken to the hospital where, the doctor of the series, he's talking to Tessa. Because Tessa and Martha, they are the ones who found Cammy and the master. And so as the doctor is trying to, wake her and stuff because she's in a coma, the master sadly died. And so she finally wakes up and she ain't too happy. Already she's in a foreign land. The people there are hostile towards her. And when she woke up, she noticed that, the doctor's hand is above her chest. Where above the chest is and below the neck. So she ain't having that. And so she grabs him by the arm and she flings him halfway across the room and he crashes on a table and splits it in two. And then, she wants to know where her master is, and Tessa tells her, he didn't make it. She doesn't believe him. So she runs out screaming for her master. And you gotta feel for her, man, because it's even though she's an adult, she's terrified of all her surroundings. And, she's the only person of her race there, And so there are some guards there. And they pick a fight with her. Well, she ends up whooping all their behinds. And Colonel Mata, I think that's his name. No, wait. I'll think of his name later. The Colonel, he sees this. Now, the Colonel, he is the type who will not allow his men to get whooped. But he sees the potential in her skills, and so he uses her to his benefit. I just wanted to cut in real fast in case someone wondering how this woman is able to fight like a samurai. And that's because back in ancient times, women were actually trained in the way of the samurai, and they were trained to be warriors and stuff. But there's a really interesting fact. Colonel Montoya, that's it. So he basically just like, uses her throughout the entire episode. And he causes her to befriend him. He realizes she's alone, she's lost, she's vulnerable. So, he's able to manipulate her. And with his soft sounding voice and everything, he's able to do that within like seconds. And also when he lets her know his rank and position to where she will, like, respect him, because he is a high ranking general in the military. And so, like, he, tells her, how sorry he is that she has lost her master. And he tells her, he has been placed, like, in a place of worship. So she goes there and prays over his body and stuff. And then he tells her and manipulates her into like getting revenge on the people that did this to her. And so he gives her weapons, throwing stars, and he gives her a katana, a gift he receives as he's traveled around the world. He even knows how to speak Japanese. And so, like, the katana that he gives her, I've seen it before, like online, like, when you buy like, swords on like in stores and stuff like Amazon and stuff. It's, I'm not exactly sure the name of it, but it's very similar to the Highlander sword. The hilt is jagged. The handle is white and pinkish. And there are these like corals that go around the handle that are very thick. And like on the end, just like the Highlander sword, the Highlander depends on which one you're talking about. The movie one has like well, it kind of looks like a tiger, but it's not a tiger. It's like a dragon, more looks like a tiger. But then the one from the show is like with his mouth open, and the one from the show is like a dragon with his mouth closed. This one looks more like the movie version, but the dragon itself is made of metal. And so, like, it's a very beautiful sword and stuff. And so, she's training and all this other stuff. And Tessa has decided she's going to let her live with her, which Montoya does not like. He doesn't like when Tessa gets involved. And so she's training, to prepare to, like, kill and stuff. But one thing Tessa doesn't know just yet is that Montoya told her, oh no, those bandits, they don't work for no man. They work for a woman, the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is Tessa. So later Cammy reveals that she's going to murder, like, the Queen of Swords and everything. And so this is really bad because the woman who wants to murder her lives in her home. But Tessa is going to try to find out the truth. So Tessa's going to go look for those bandits dressed as the Queen of Swords. Well, at some point in time, what is it? So at one point in time, Tessa is like riding around with Cammy in the carriage. And they see the bandits. And Cammy's trying to like, kill them and everything with the throwing stars, but she's unable to. And she's pissed because Tessa will not stop. And so they have a very, very heated conversation. See, Cammy is like driven by one thing and one thing only: revenge. And she's gonna get it any way she can. And she cannot see straight. And she cannot see clearly. All she wants is vengeance. And Tessa is trying to let her know that is not the path you need to go. So then, she mentions Tessa's father, how Tessa's father was murdered. And she literally straight up tells Tessa, did you ever avenge your father's like death and everything? And so we get a flashback of when this man confronted Tessa and saw like he saw the man who killed like your father, but this man was like a dangerous man and he tried to murder Tessa while she had a pitchfork on him. And so in anguish and everything and rage, she stabs the man as he's trying to like get her and stuff. And so then after she kills the man, she's pissed and just keeps like screaming and begging at him to reveal who murdered her father. She has no idea who did it. Of course, the audience does, because we saw who did it and stuff. And so she tells, Cammy, no, she didn't. And that's one of the things that Tessa like regrets. And so Cammy just insults her and be all like, "You go the path of the mouse, but I like follow the path of like the dragon and everything." And so like it really does make you wonder if like Cammy doesn't get her way, will she just take it out on people, you know? Well, at some point in time also like we see one of like the bandits and he's in like the place where they like order food and stuff, and he tries to pay with Japanese coins, which the waitress has no idea what kind of money that is. And so the guard, he realizes it's Japanese and he takes him to Grisham. Not Grisham. Grisham's the captain. Montoya. And Montoya knows the dude is lying and everything and basically tells him, show me, the man who killed that woman's master. Because if you don't, I will straight up kill you and everything. And so Montoya, working his magic, he convinces like the bandit, like the boss dude, to pretend like you were following the orders of the Queen of Swords. And so the man gets a little greedy and asks for like tons of money, and Montoya does not like that, as he has snipers positioned on the mountaintops and stuff. Then of course the man kills his friend who ratted him out. And so basically at some point in time, everybody at this point is trying to convince Cammy that the Queen of Swords would never run with bandits and murder somebody in cold blood. Tessa tells her that, Martha tells her that, and Dr. Helms tells her that, but she will not listen to nobody, and I mean nobody. But it is starting to get to her, so she starts to question Montoya. And he brings in the bandit, and the bandit's like, yeah, man, like, Queen of Swords and everything. And so then Montoya's all like, good, now hang this man. He can't have no loose ends. That man starts to like, rat him out and everything. Montoya, my guy, is one of the best villains I've ever seen on TV. And so the Queen of Swords, she knows she needs that bandit, so she rescues him. And so like Cammy has decided she's gonna pick up the trail of the queen. And so as Tessa and the bandit are talking and everything, in comes Cammy. The bandit of course wants to kill Cammy because of his son, and Cammy wants to kill both of them. It is an amazing sword duel between Cammy and that of the Queen of Swords. Because the Queen of Swords, she fights with a fencing sword. However, it's weird seeing a different technique because Cammy is she fights with a katana, so and Tessa fights with like a fencing sword or a rapier or what do you call it, and their styles are completely different. And I love how they're not fighting like the old Xena type way where they're just trying to hack each other. They're actually fighting with their respectful like sword styles and everything. And Cammy is kicking her butt. But Tessa is not giving up with a fight and everything. And so then like the bandit gets loose and he tries to kill Cammy with the Queen of Swords sword because Cammy had kicked it out of her hand. But then the queen throws a dagger at the man's heart and kills him. It is at this point in time Cammy realizes that the queen must be telling her the truth because she's willing to kill that bandit and save Cammy's life. It's a little too quickly, if you ask me. I mean, she went the entire episode believing the queen was a murderer and all this other stuff, and just within seconds, she's like, okay, well, I believe you and everything. Well, at this point in time, Montoya and his men are out there, but Cammy is pissed. It's all like, you used me, and he's all like, just kill them both. And so this sword fight's not that impressive, and it's very quickly. Basically, it's the queen and Cammy fighting off the guards. It should have been a whole lot longer. And so Montoya is trying to get his pistol out and load it and shoot it. But the queen basically tells him, by the time you load that thing, you're going to be dead, dude. So he's all like, yeah, you're right. So he's all like, live to fight another day. And he just leaves and stuff. Oh, boy. Now, at one point in this episode, I forgot to mention, Cammy kind of acted like she liked the doctor a little bit. He's naked, getting himself a bath, and she just comes to him, but he's very like, "Yo, get out of here!" I'm like naked, but then his arm is hurt, so she massages his arm, and she makes it feel better, and he has no idea what she did. I'm pretty sure massages were invented before then, but maybe he just don't know that technique. And so Cammy and the Queen, they part ways and everything. And Cammy tells her, I'm gonna explore this new world like my master wanted me to, and see what, it has in store and stuff. And she gives the Queen like a very beautiful dagger, a Japanese dagger. And one thing I noticed as Cammy started walking away was that her sword on the handle part where the animal face is at, it no longer has metal attached to it. It must have fell off and everything. And it's sad because we don't get to see Cammy no more, but it would have been nice to see her like again. Happy Asian and Pacific Islander month, everybody. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.